Okay, folks, welcome. Another Friday night session here of some painting, and it's been almost a week since I was able to paint, and here we are again. We're going to try to give it a little bit of a go. I don't know how successful I'm going to be. A lot of that is going to depend on my caffeine intake and interaction with visitors. So, interaction's always appreciated because it keeps me on task and keeps me from doing something else. So when we, a while ago, one of the things I had done was I had done a review of, or I said I was going to do a review of a new material that I had to use as a basing material. And that's to replace the resin sand here. And I picked up the Vallejo ground effects, which is right down here. I watched a video and that was comparing certain products, and it seemed that this product here was the closest in similarity to the resin sand that I'm very happy with, but it's apparently out of production. My plan is I have maybe a third of a bottle here. I still have quite a bit of it in here, but we want to use this. We're going to use this basically to, if we have to add any stands to the armies that I already have used with this. But going forward, I plan on using this because it's something that when I run out, and I'm happy with it, I still have I still have the ability to replace some of it. Hello, Joe. It's Friday. What gives? Yeah, I got off early and Mitch couldn't play, so you know, it's it keeps being inconvenient for both of us, basically. So I had done it. I had taken some of this out and tested it, and I mean, literally, when you got this, they filled it to the brim. I mean, there's like no extra space here, and which is unusual. Unlike a bag of chips, where it would probably be full to about here. And I never reported on what my findings were. So this is plenty old. It's probably about a month since I did this. And here is the rough gray pumice, which I was told it was the closest equivalent to the resin sand. And to be honest with you, it's a lot more sandpaper-ish than the resin sand. It's got more grit. I mean, ultimately, I'm going to end up painting it with the same type of colors, so it's going to work. But it definitely has a more finer grit. It almost looks like it's got a bunch of little rocks on there. I don't know. It should work just fine. So when we do these Wallachian guys, we definitely will be using this material in its place. But I wanted to report on that. It's definitely grittier, and according to this, it supposedly dries at about 90 minutes. I was not able to test that. I would be really surprised if it dried that quick. I mean, hopefully it does. That's great news. I mean, that's one of the things that slows down the process that I use is the waiting time that I have to use the basing material, which takes about 6 hours to dry. So you just kind of have to take that into consideration when you're doing something else, so that you're not thinking you're going to be able to start painting the base at a certain time, and haha, you can't. So back to the light horse, which is where we're at here. We've got this guy and this guy, for the most part, finished, other than the mane and the tail, which is something I kind of leave for last. I haven't done the hat, and I haven't done what I'm going to paint the shield as, because I was kind of I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't really want to stop and do the research, and I still haven't done that. So I moved on and started working on another horseman. So that's I think what we're going to go with. Oh, we got a full moon tonight? Yeah. Things are going to be interesting if you're into that superstitious shit. Okay, so this is where we were at last time, and this time, unlike the previous time when I started, I did not leave the paint in the paint palette sitting there for weeks. So we should not have a mold issue, and we do not. It does dry. I have used their products before. Okay, even it does dry quick. Okay, well, hopefully it does. It looks, there's a guy that did a really extensive comparison between a bunch of Liquitex products and a bunch of Vallejo products. And I mean, the only reason I'm switching is because, like I mentioned earlier, I had a hard time finding this resin sand, and I found a place that had it online, and now we are 3. You got it, Peter and the Wolf. Actually, we need to get WGS on here, and then it would be Peter and the Wolf, Wolf's Gaming Shop. I was told it was not a earth-friendly whatever. It had resin pieces in it, and that's the only reason I am even looking for a replacement. So, but look at the colors separated here. Let's take care of this. I've never had to do this before, so let's see if we can keep us from having a disaster here. It actually worked really well. I was surprised. I've been fighting problems all week at work, so this is child's play, so to speak. Okay. All right. So we'll see how, like I said earlier, we'll see how long we can go. I'm caffeinated, and hopefully we'll entertain each other and get through this, because I really don't feel like painting, but I don't really feel like doing anything else either. So, I got some time to myself. I can be nice and loud in the house with no one here. Hey, it'd be a perfect night to game, but the people on the other end aren't available. Need to find a gaming partner that works Monday through Friday, has the weekends off. Like most civilized people. It's all good. I've played lots of games. I don't need to game that badly. All right. I think we were using this color here with mixing with some black. I thought you'd be skiing based on your picture. No, not this time. We got a vacation coming up. We leave the day after Christmas, and I'll be out until the next year. That's I rarely ever work between Christmas and New Year's. It may have happened twice in the last 20 years. I almost always take that time off. It's the slow part. That's definitely when we're the slowest at work, which is conducive to me not having to do so much turmoil to leave and not so much cleanup when I get back. And I generally travel, and we're supposed to, I'll say that way so I'm covered, we're supposed to go on a cruise. And I haven't been on one in about 3 years due to you-know-what, so looking forward to that, but not getting too excited because, they can always change what they want us to do, the hoops they want us to jump through until then, so looking forward to that for sure. So, you did not call me. Oh, well, you were in Lakeland. I'd like to give more notice than that. That's the kind of crap I got to do at work. Like, oh, surprise, this doesn't happen like right now. Like, come on, dude, let's plan a little bit. So I thought the daughter was going to actually be here, but she decided to go somewhere with her little boyfriend, and the wife is doing a girls' night. So there you have it. All right, so we're going to paint the socks on this horse, and then we can move forward with whatever this figure is. I know what it was. We were painting his jacket green. That's why I picked up that green. It'll take me a little while to get back into it. Just having some trouble getting motivated started with this army. You know, eventually you get to the point where it's like, oh man, I can't wait to get them done. I'm excited to build figures upon figures, but at this point it's just kind of trying to build up some momentum. It's just difficult trying to paint with this many days in between sessions and staying motivated. But we're not going to start another army until this one's done, so you know, we might hop around. We might say I'm done with these horse guys and paint the little artillery piece, because you know those are always fun to paint. But it's still for the same army, so that's as much as I'll let myself get distracted. But lately, I've been going to sleep probably about 9:15, 9:30, you know, so come home, go to the gym, shower, go to bed. Pretty much Monday through Friday. That's the exciting life that's going on here. Okay, so we were doing a green shirt on this guy, and I don't know that I have enough there. Let's get here. Peter, you guys back on lockdown again? I really don't pay attention to the news, so I honestly don't know if the whole world's on fire. They always like to think that the world is on fire, but I don't pay attention to the news, whether it's Omicron or one of those other Decepticon named things. I'm in my own world over here. And glad that I'm not living in a place that's all shut down and stuff. Because this last couple of years has been more of what you don't want and less of what you do. So way too busy. I'm waiting for one of these times to actually have a slowdown at work, but that doesn't seem to happen anytime. We keep going in the opposite direction. So people losing their minds over a flu in the UK. Did you say no AM painting? I did not say no AM painting. There will be an AM painting unless I oversleep. Not on lockdown, but it's getting tough. Yeah. Well, I personally am looking forward to going on a cruise. It's supposedly a mask-free cruise, but everybody has to be vaccinated. Okay. I'm not against vaccinations, you know. I've had all my ones as a kid. I don't want to be vaccinated and still have to wear 3 masks. Like, well, why get vaccinated then, right? So, you know. I don't really have any close contact. I don't live in a big metropolitan area. I don't really have. I mean, hell, I haven't even. I pretty much go to work, come home. Got your third shot yesterday, feeling okay. I've had two. The first one and the second one didn't feel a thing. I just didn't want them holding the gun to my head and said I had to get it. I'm not against it. Just the way it was sold is I'm not buying. But I did for the other people in the household. They were concerned for me, but as far as I'm concerned, and this really pisses some people off, I guess. But as far as I'm concerned, it's just business as usual. But I don't live a crazy life where I go to concerts and stuff like that. So, I forget it's going on until I go in the public and I'm like, "What's this? Oh, that's right." So, if they're trying to scare me, it's not working on me. So, I guess I should keep it down, or they're gonna have a special strike team to come and try to scare me. Oh well, I'm scared of stuff, just not that. Went to Mexico on vacation, had no problem. Again, wasn't around a lot of people. It's not like we're in some big mosh pit. We literally were rented a house on a peninsula with 4 other couples, and don't want to be around a lot of people anyways. Even before this, like. All right. Signed up for Historicon. We got a room for Historicon next year. We'll go to it if masks aren't mandated. I'm not gonna have a big fit. I'm just, I don't need a game bad enough to wear a mask. I can't understand people. I can't hear well, so and that's just not part of my part of enjoyment. So, vaccination is like car insurance. It will limit the damage if you have an accident, but does not prevent you from having an accident. Yeah. Doesn't bother me. If people don't want to get it, they don't get it. I don't have a real strong opinion on it. So, I just don't like other people telling me what to do. But we will see. We will see. But I was emailing somebody earlier this week, or they emailed me. They were wanting to know if we were going to Historicon or what have you. So, well, we're planning on it. And this person, it's kind of like, a cop. Okay, a cop that pulls over the cop has seen everything bad. The people that are EMTs, they see nothing's ever a good day for them, So I could see that they have that kind of, they're. If you work in an emergency room, everything you see is the worst, So that's what the drug companies say, kerching. I'm just glad. I'm glad that they made it that you didn't have to go to your primary care. Because otherwise, there's no way I'd get it. That's a pain in the ass to go to your primary care physician. They're never on time. It's just a pain in the ass. The fact that you go to a drugstore or whatever and do it, as soon as they open, in and out. Made it a lot easier. If people don't want to get it, I'm cool with that. I personally am all right with it. I don't have a problem with it. So. But then I'm not a big fan of controlling people. But I'm glad I'm not suffering, because those people that are worried about this, dude, they're going to be suffering the rest of their lives, because there's going to be one thing after another that they're going to come up with, whether it's legitimate or illegitimate or whatever. It's just, there's some people that are just, they've been damaged by this. Maybe they already had issues. I don't know. I'm just glad that I'm not in panic mode or anything. And if I never get to go to another convention because they want to put a bunch of requirements that I don't feel like I want to deal with, well, it was a good run. I'll still sit here and paint, and we'll play locally, and not a big deal. It is so difficult to take time off of work these days, anyways, that I don't want to take time off of work. Have to come back and fix everything, and while I'm at that other place, it's a pain in the ass, or it's harassment, or just it should be a vacation, escape from the BS. Done Vlad yet? I have not. Red Armor? I'm not sure. I'm gonna read up there's all kinds of different spins on him. So I'll have to look. He's gonna have some red on him. I don't know yet. I don't think he's gonna be all red. But I don't know. And like, for instance, talk about different things. Supposedly he has a dragon flag, and then sometimes he has the Wallachian flag. So I've got, I'm going to work my way up and do him last, because, I got to earn it. There's only one army that I didn't do in that order. In other words, that I painted the fancy guys first, because I had so much trouble getting them off the ground, and that was my Armenians. But my Armenians was the first army I ever did that I would call, say, boring peasant types. For most of their troop types, they were boring peasant types. So I had a hard time trying to get them up off the ground, so I needed some extra motivation in the form of, getting all the nobles done, and then I wouldn't have any excuse to get the other ones done. And that's how I had to do it. I don't think I'm going to have to resort to that with these folks. But, right now what I'm struggling with is making a decision on what I'm going to put on the shields. But I'm not really struggling with it. I'm just avoiding it. I've got to paint this stuff anyways. So I just haven't sat down and done some research. Not that I dislike doing that. I've chosen not to spend my free time doing that. So furry hat. This guy does have a furry hat. Yeah, this guy does have a furry hat. Twirly mustache. This entire army has a bunch of mustaches. Everybody. Even the women. No, there's no women in here. Everybody's got a beard or a mustache. Every single person. As I like to say, I can grow a beard, so I don't need to. I'm not trying to prove anything. I had a beard for, 6 months, something like that. That's a pain in the ass. You got to shave every day. I got to shave my neck every day, or you just look like a total bum. And I don't have my personality to fall back on like some people. I gotta step it up a little bit. It was just a pain in the ass. It's just a pain in the ass to do that. I can grow a beard. I don't need to. Yeah, there should be painting in the morning. There should be painting Sunday morning. Don't know when we're going to game again. I thought I was going to get a chance to game this Monday. But of course, the only busy day next week is that Monday. So, you know, I'm not even going to attempt to show up. And, you know, the reality is yes, I could have showed up to play all these Mondays, but the problem is we normally start about 6. I wouldn't have been able to show up till 7:45 rushing. It's just not worth it, you know. A hobby should be entertaining and relaxing. When it becomes stress-inducing, then it's like, why am I even doing this? You know? So... yeah, so it's rushing, showing up late, and then having to stay up till who knows when, editing a video and run back into a workday. It's just too much. It's just too much to even think about. I've just literally the last couple months I've just basically been in survival mode, just trying to get the minimum by to get by through the workday till the next day. You know, so it'll get better. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I've done lots of gaming. It gives you guys a chance to watch other people's content. I'm not the only video game creator on here. You see the 28mm Armati game on YouTube? I have not. But I'll write it down as soon as I find a pen. Armati. Yeah, Armati. That's what I went to play, and nobody was doing it. Armati, 28mm, YouTube. I haven't watched a lot of stuff on YouTube lately. I've actually gotten back into watching television. I know that sounds weird. But just during like my lunch break and stuff like that, I got hooked on watching, it's probably going to Mexico, I got hooked on watching Narcos Mexico, whatever. And I usually don't watch any television at all. And it's entertaining. I like coming up with some new phrases. I understand some new. I've been learning some new rude Mexican phrases, so that's always interesting. We said a while ago they were going to paint his sleeves white, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to have white sleeves. A bleached shirt he has underneath. Hey, that's how his mama decided to dress him. This is the first time I've had coffee on a paint session in several months. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't backfire and I'll end up being able to fall asleep at night. I'll just end up waking up every 45 minutes or something like that. But, you know, it's a weekend, so I can handle not getting enough sleep because I technically don't have to do jack shit tomorrow, so. Technically. Did I tell you, John, we tried watching your movie the other day? Not the other day, but several months ago, and we just can't get through that movie. It's not. Well, I think you mentioned you didn't even like it, that you liked the books, but yeah, the daughter and I just couldn't get into it. That's why, you know, I just don't. I'm not much of a movie watcher, TV watcher. You know, usually you'll be like, oh, this is pretty cool, and then something will come wrong. Like, why am I even watching this? But it's kind of hard to paint with the family because the family don't paint. So, well, my daughter does, but not this kind of painting. So we are planning on going to Historicon next year, but we're certainly not. I'm certainly not making any videos advertising what games I'm going to do. That seems to be the kiss of death. That's like, oh, you think you're going to run all those games, huh? All right. Well, here's the Omegatron virus, and now they restricted access or canceled the convention. So we're not going to advertise the games. We're not going to advertise the games in a video or anything like that because I can't control what's going to happen. And we'll plan on going and putting on a full set of DBA 3.0 games, as long as they don't make us play dress up when we get there, That's fine. If they want to do that, there's limitations they got to do. But I'm not going to travel 14 and a half hours to, be inconvenienced. So... That's not very engaging. Last time I saw something on TV was at my parents' house last Christmas. It's a Wonderful Knife in high def. Looked odd. I've never seen it. You know why? It's black and white. I don't have a problem with old movies. I don't have a problem with foreign movies. I just don't do black and white. I'm anti-black and white. Have I seen black and white movies? Yes. Have I seen more than 10 of them? No. Okay, well, we're not counting Three Stooges stuff, okay? It's like legitimate movies, something like the Maltese Falcon. I'm not a fan of Bogart, but I've seen the Maltese Falcon, and I've seen Schindler's List, and I've seen In Harm's Way, and I've seen, what are we up to, 3? Not many more than that. I just don't do... Oh, it's in color now. Okay. I'd watch it now. Yeah. Jimmy Stewart. My favorite Jimmy Stewart movie, without a doubt, not even close to any other movie, Rear Window. Rear Window is such a freaking good movie. That is such a good movie. But it's a movie that the wife couldn't watch because she'd just be stressed out the whole time. And, and it's done in a classy way. They don't really show anything. I mean, nothing, it's not barbaric like they do the movies now where they got to show every single last gruesome detail, Excellent movie. Do you not think Dracula benefits from being in black and white? No. I ain't watching no damn black and white movie. I'm not seeing it the color it really was. I've never seen Young Frankenstein, even though everybody's told why it's in black and white. I've never seen this Dr. Strangelove thing. It's in black and white. Maybe I'll break down and watch those two. Those are classics that everybody tells me to watch, and I just don't do black and white. Like some people. Rear Window, yeah, I like The Birds. I saw The Birds is black and white, isn't it? One of those Hitchcock movies is black and white. I'm sure I've seen it, but I'm just not a fan. Maybe because I was nearsighted such as a kid. I don't want to. I feel like I'm missing out on something. I feel like it needs to be corrected to be able to see it. And now there's just too many damn things to watch. So, when something's not awesome, after 10 minutes, you just move on to something else, So, Citizen Kane, never seen Citizen Kane. Probably never see it. It's black and white. But if it's colorized, I'd watch it. Yeah. It's not, it's just that. It's my thing. It's the thing that it's this thing I don't do. You know, feel like I'm missing out on something. I didn't grow. I was kind of in that transition period. I mean, there were some things that I don't know. I just got better things to see than I thought. That was when Schindler's List came out. I really think that was, and I don't know what the reason is that they did that, but I think it was a real disservice because I remember as a kid. As a kid? Yeah, I guess I was a kid. I was in high school when that miniseries War and Remembrance came out. And yeah, it's a hokey soap drama or thing, whatever. But when I was like 17 years old and they had those scenes of Auschwitz in full color, that's some powerful, wicked stuff. And I think that when you black and white it really loses its, for me, it loses the it's not as powerful, you know. I'm not trying to downplay it, but I'm just saying that, you know, it was shocking to see it in color. It was absolutely shocking, and you know, it kind of needs to be shocking because, you know, that's some pretty graphic stuff. But I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have affected me as much as an adult. I finally got around to seeing on YouTube, I think it was on YouTube, there was supposedly the most horrific World War II movie ever made. Many people claim it's the most horrific World War II. And as a World War II nut, or I should say someone who really likes World War II stuff, likes it so much that has a very hard time enjoying World War II films. I did finally get around to seeing it. And that's that Russian film called Come and See. And I don't know because if I'm older or it's an older film, but it didn't, you know, it didn't have that effect on me. I'm not saying it was a, you know, it was a kid's movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it just had a lot of weird stuff in it. You know, there was some psychedelic stuff in there, and some reactions by some of the characters that seemed very hokey. Like if you've watched any amount of the samurai movies, is it Kurosawa samurai movies? You'll see that some of the characters that will either be really serious, and all of a sudden when there's like a comedy routine where they act like they're like a split personality, where they almost go into almost acting kind of like a jester. And I don't know why those kind of decisions are made, but it just kind of it I have a problem with the authenticity of it when you encounter that kind of stuff in a movie that's supposed to be serious, of a serious matter. And Come and See had some of that, and of course the samurai stuff has that stuff as well. I just, you know, I find it a little off-putting. But not seen Psycho. I have not seen Psycho. No, I have not. Sorry. World at War docu. I'm not keen on colorized World War II footage. We had to watch Battleship Potemkin and 1920s Napoleon for a college assignment. Never seen either one of those two. Sorry. I've seen lots of World War II footage in black and white, but that's all there was, you know. Oh, well. Hey, at least I watch foreign movies. Not like, I ain't watching it unless it's American movie. Nah, American stuff sucks lots of times. I prefer things with people, actors you don't know. That's my preference, so. Battleship Potemkin. That's an old movie from like the 1925 or something like that, right? No, and I haven't seen the Teutonic Knight one either. Whatever it's called. The black and white one. Dr. Cagliari, original Nosferatu, all black and white. Cagliari. It's the capital of Sardinia, right? Man, I used to know all my capitals and all that stuff, and then, started getting into history and paint and stuff. I don't remember. Went to a trivia night last night, unintentionally. We went to meet with the people that we're about to cruise with, because it's basically their first cruise, for the most part. And we've been on a dozen or so I think we're kind of pro level. So they had some questions, so we went to this restaurant, and we didn't know that they were going to have a trivia night. And I'm like, cool. I said, we'll smoke these rednecks here. And but they didn't have any of the Tony specialty categories that involve like history or geography. I think I'm better at geography than history, or I used to be. Anyways, they didn't put like, what's this flag? I'm like, oh, I know that. That's Mozambique. Stuff that we could like smoke people on, or at least I could contribute to. So it was a little disappointing in that department, but I was able to contribute, but not as specialized categories that would be more helpful with. Because I'm usually like, okay, let's do trivia. Okay, cool. I don't know jack shit about literature or sports, so I'm out on that stuff. And science, not really. I'm not really a science person. So, history and geography, that's where I'm at. You reckon actors should get paid well for one film and then give the roles to the next guys in line? Yeah. Original Nosferatu. I think I can visualize what that character looked like. He was almost like gargoyle-ish. Pointy teeth. I don't know if that really counts as horror. I don't watch horror, and I'll tell you what I really don't do. And I found this out the other night. Because I am doing some gaming. I'm just not able to get together with Mitch and game. So I have been doing a little bit of computer gaming. Very little. It's not like I'm sitting there for 4 hours, but it's like, I got half hour to kill or something like that. The wife decided to get an Oculus for us. And if you guys don't know what an Oculus is one of those virtual reality things. It's the one that's done by Facebook. And I'm like, why did you... Yeah, I don't think it was a good idea. I didn't have a really high opinion of it until I got it. And it's pretty... It looks pretty good. And it's pretty freaking intense. It's so intense that I have failed morale checks playing games. And I realize I don't want to play those games. There's a Walking Dead game that I bought it right off the bat. And I'm fine with it. But you just get startled. And it's just too much stress. It's just way too much stress. So I hadn't gotten a game for that thing in probably a year. And or damn near a year, and I ended up downloading one yesterday, and it was one of those shooters. It was a tactical shooter type game where you go in and counter terrorist type stuff. Not a topic that I would consider scary. I watch that stuff all the time. I played lots of video games, whether it's on the Xbox or mainly on the Xbox computer related to that. That's the kind of games that I like, tactical shooter type stuff, go get the terrorist or be the terrorist and get hostages or whatever it is. I download this demo and it's neat because you have to do all the actions. Like you have a rifle and you have to press a button to drop the magazine, and you go and you grab another one and you put it in, and it's very immersive, and it looks pretty freaking good. But, when you turn your head, somebody could be creeping up behind you. And I'm in this thing, and I just finished like a starter mission. And it's kind of awkward. You've got to, you got to drop the magazine, put another one in, and then, and then and then cock it back, to keep it going. It's not like you can just press one button and do it like in a normal video game. You've got to do some manipulations. And I ended up activating like a zombie level. And they weren't, and I was just like, I went into panic mode. I'm like, nope, not doing this. I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna ask for a refund. It was way too stressful to be like, it's like if you played any kind of video games, driving games and like shooting games, it's easier to shoot things in real life. It's easier to drive in real life. And it's just like when you're like all this stress is on top, you're like, I don't need that in my gaming. I don't necessarily want something that's not challenging, but I don't need that amount of stress where I'm being rushed and and panic and stuff like that. So they have this game by I'm watching the demo of it. Resident Evil 4 or something like that. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I would play that with a virtual reality. No. But it's extremely immersive. I am really impressed. By the quality and smoothness of how everything looks. I'm really, really impressed. But there's not a whole lot of things made for it. But that's fine. I mean, the Walking Dead game was a fine balance until it just got too difficult. But the premise of that game is you have to get items. You have to pick up, you're walking around and you pick up like a block of wood and you grab it and you put it in your backpack. You physically have to do those actions, which after you do them a few times, it feels actually very natural. That game is actually particularly good. You can grab like an axe and then put your other hand on it and use two hands. But the problem with that game is that everything you use falls apart. So if you get the materials to say build a bat, like a baseball bat, you go back to your base and you build a baseball bat and you put one in your backpack and one in a like your holster on one side and like a shiv somewhere else. So you've got enough. The shiv's only good for like maybe stabbing 4 zombies. Okay. And after that, it's falling apart and it's no good. So you need to have multiple weapons. So it's extremely stressful because you can't just go in there and just go to town because you kind of have to take it in phases. So I was getting in a good rhythm. It's not particularly scary. It's not a particularly scary game, but it is a game that cheats. And what I mean by that is, say you start in an area, and I think very tactically, and sorry I'm getting off on a tangent, but hey, at least I'm awake and I'm not falling asleep. I think very tactically when I play games. So if you come in and you enter in this doorway, you look around, there's no one behind you. So you start clearing so that if you ever have to fall back, you have a clean area or a safe area to fall back on. But the game will cheat in that you'll clean an area and then all of a sudden, after 3 minutes, somebody will appear behind you that there's no way they could have gotten there. So, that's like panicking where you think that, everything behind me is okay, and all of a sudden you get tapped on the shoulder by somebody that wants to eat you, But there's not a whole lot of that. But the game just ramped up the difficulty really hard, where it was like you could like fight off like 2 creatures at once. After that, it's like you need to fall back a little bit. And I turned one corner, there was 6. And I'm like, okay, I've got 3 weapons on me. I can't dispatch them all with the durability that's on these weapons. I'm gonna be out, and it's just like I'd stop playing it. I mean, I hadn't played it since like March or something like that. It is a beautiful game. It actually looks really good. It's very immersive. I picked up a pistol and it looks just like one of my pistols. It's got a serial number on it and everything. It's really amazing the quality that it is. It's just way too stressful. Way too stressful. And I'm not a person that enjoys playing games that are not challenging or anything like that. But there's a point where it's like, this is more stressful than being at work, and it's not paying a whole lot, playing a game. So maybe I've gotten older. Maybe games have just gotten more stressful. But I've failed morale checks in a game. I'm I'm like, I'm out. Nope, can't do this because you get. It doesn't screw with you, but the battery on it lasts about an hour and a half, and you need to stop after an hour and a half because it's not that I have motion sickness or anything, but you're kind of in another world, and I'm actually really impressed by the quality and how well it works. Total War campaigns cheat too. Drive me nuts. Well, I've played the first Rome a lot with expansions. I played the medieval one. I could say I played the medieval one a lot, but I only played the Normans and the Spanish. And then my computer died. So since then, since I've got this new one, I've played the Samurai 1. I guess it's Samurai 2, it's considered. I play it some. And I got the Rome 2 because it was just too cheap not to get it. And I've played it some. And the Three Kingdoms one. And I've played it some. But there's just... after you play it for a while, the battles all turn into the same battle. You hold the center, outflank, hit them in the rear, and collapse, and then chase down the victor. That's what every battle basically turns into. And so then the rest of the game is like a political type game, and it's like, this isn't really what I want to do. They're beautiful, they're inspiring from the standpoint of maybe paint schemes to paint some of your figures, but I don't know. I've played a lot of video games. Maybe I'm just kind of done with that as much as I used to be. I used to play a lot of video games. While I was painting and doing face-to-face stuff, the face-to-face stuff is still better. It always has been. But, you can't sometimes link up with the right people, I prefer turn-based games, otherwise too stressful. Can do without that. I pay taxes to get my stress fix. I prefer a combination. Turn-based, I feel like you have too much time to think about something, and then I feel like a turn-based game, you have an unfair advantage against the computer. And in a one that's real-time, the computer has an advantage because they're running around all over the place. But I've done both. I like real-time, but I don't like too many things going on at one time. I don't know. It's still not the same as face-to-face, but it's something else to do. It's something else to do. I know that the computer gaming and the console gaming, some people is enough of a fix, and they never get into doing this stuff. I think it's just something. It's something different. I know that Battletech game that I got a few months ago is an excellent game. It's turn-based, and it's a beautiful game, and there's a lot of tactical puzzles to try to figure out. It plays a lot like the miniatures or the board game back from the 80s. I think the designer is one of the people from definitely had an impact from the original game, so there's definitely that tie-in there. But at the same time, it puts me to sleep sometimes because there's no sense of urgency, because I can take however long I want to make a decision, and then I move this guy, and then do his attack. Let me add this laser and this SRM. Let me drop this thing so I don't create too much heat this turn. And then you do it, and you see the effects, and it goes to the next thing. It's almost like it's too uninvolved. So, maybe it's good that those video games aren't that awesome. Otherwise, it might keep us from doing this. You could just get your fix all on that and never have to do the tabletop stuff. But that BattleTech game is a fun game. And I'm not a science fiction guy, but I used to play BattleTech in my late teens, early 20s, and it's like playing the game but better, So there he is, Australian Greg. Did you enjoy my week away? We did. And we're getting ready to go for another week away in about a week. In about a week? Yeah, in about a week. So we'll be cruising, hopefully. Hopefully something doesn't go sideways. And you can go, but you got to wear a hazmat suit the whole time. you know, hopefully, hopefully we'll be good for that. So, you guys open back up, or you still got in lockdown? All right, so we got some blankets here to do. Do we have any red blankets yet? No. Well, this guy's going to have a red blanket. Let's get us some red out here. Christmas on the high seas. No, we leave the day after Christmas. New Year's Eve on the high seas. New Year's Eve on the high seas. What's going on here? Why is this hiccuping? Late in UK, got to sleep painting session Saturday morning? Absolutely. We'll be back on in about 10 hours. So get your sleep, and we will see you in the morning or your afternoon. We'll be on for tea. I guess tea's early afternoon, isn't it? I don't know. Probably always a good time for tea. I like tea as long as it's cold. I don't like warm tea. I don't need to drink anything warm. But I like that English breakfast tea or the Earl Grey or... That stuff tastes good. Doesn't even need any sweetener. All right. Let's put this away. Mr. Black dried up, so we need to get some more reinforcements for that pigment color. Black. Why does black have an RAL code and an RLM code? It's freaking black. All restrictions have been listed in our state, even for the unvaccinated. Excellent. Even for the unvaccinated. You know, I don't care about the... Like I said, I think people should be able to do whatever the hell they want. I'm not anti-vaccination. I'm anti-mask. I don't want to socially interact with anybody wearing a mask. I'm just not interested. I can't understand people. Right there, it's simply, I can't understand people. You know, so, you know, if I'm forced to go somewhere and I have to wear a mask, I interact like on a plane, I interact as minimum as I can with other people. You know, and anywho, it's not up to me. I don't get to make those decisions. All right, let's get the things on here. I'm in the process of painting up a castle for my recently completed medieval French. Did you post those? I can't remember if you posted those or not. I thought the ones you posted were English. Maybe they were the French ones, not the English. They were the... You know what? It may have... I don't know if it was the island French or the mainland French. Which one of the two was it? So funny you should... I just read something recently. So Dan Jones just came out with a new book about a month ago on Audible. Maybe it was a month and a half ago. Kings and Thrones, Powers and Thrones, something like that. It's like a medieval history thing. I'm a big fan of Dan Jones. I'm especially a big fan of his when since I do things on Audible, if he's the one narrating his own book. Because he does a better job than most pronouncing everything correctly. He really does. Like, he gives a shit, Even Spanish, French words, he does a really good job with that. But he had some excerpts of a couple different characters. And one of the characters he had an excerpt of was William Marshall, which I know you built your English army based around him. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know jack shit about him. I didn't. It's not like I just avoided him. I didn't know anything about him. So it did like a little. The chapter was on knighthood, and it used El Cid as an example, and it used William Marshall as the other example. And so I got to learn about him, which I didn't know anything about. So, hey, that's what history's about to me, at least anyways, is learning. And then being able to participate in our own geeky way, But that's why I like... see how I got distracted? I pull out the red and then I pull out the flesh color. Well, that's a good thing about the wet palette. They'll still be here when I get around to them. Let's go ahead and do the flesh on this guy, because that's more fun. Lots of people don't like painting flesh, and I'm not one of those. I like horses and flesh and shields and flags. All that stuff everybody hates. Not yet. Haven't posted photos of either the mainland or the island French. To do that tomorrow. I heard somebody say that, and that stuck in my mind. And I'm like, that's funny. That's funny. Powers and Thrones, something like that. It's called something like that. It came out about a month ago on Audible. It might be out already on the book, on the actual physical book, longer than that. But if I want to get through a book, I definitely have to listen to it on Audible. Otherwise, this just isn't going to happen. It's just I just don't have the time or desire to devote to sit there and reading a physical book that I can just have it read to me on my drive, So where are you up to with the Wallachians? I haven't done jack shit with them. I got two light horsemen that aren't complete because I don't know what I'm going to do with the shields just yet, and I got their hats to do, and this is the third one. So that's as far as I've gotten. I've had very little painting time opportunities, but they'll get done before the next army gets done, because I'm not starting another army until these guys are done. So I don't know how long it's going to take. All I know is work needs to freaking slow down, man. Way too busy. So busy I couldn't even use all my vacation days. It seems like I'm taking a lot of vacation. I haven't taken any throughout the rest of the year. Just don't. There's no conventions to go to, or there weren't. And we didn't go anywhere for spring break. So it's on my to-buy list. Yep. It's good, just like his stuff normally is. He was actually on an interview with one of my favorite podcasters named Dan Carlin. And Dan Carlin did an interview with Dan Jones. And it was funny because it made Dan Jones seem like he was 20 years older than Dan Carlin. Which, Dan Jones is younger than I am. Dan Carlin's got 10 years on me or something like that. But I listened to most of that. It was pretty interesting. They came out maybe a couple of weeks before his book came out. But I was going to get it. I'll circle back and I haven't read his Templar book, or the Magna Carta book, or which one? I feel like I'm missing another one. The Plantagenet book is excellent, but he didn't narrate it. The guy that narrated is just as much fun as a bump on a log. So, yes, I made it through the whole thing, but the material is superb. The narration is sucky, or it didn't work for me. But his Crusades one is really... Look at this, I'm painting the boot. Getting all excited. Too much caffeine. Yeah, we can fix that in no time. His Crusades book is excellent. And the War of the Roses one is excellent. Which actually I'm surprised, because that's not really a subject that I was particularly interested in. But yeah, it was really good. He definitely needs to narrate the rest of his books. He does an excellent job of narrating. He's extremely easy to understand. He's very clear, you know. It's kind of the same thing with miniatures. You could be a great miniature sculptor, but if you put your figures on there and they're painted by somebody who's very substandard, they're not going to do a good job of selling your miniatures, in my opinion. Some people may not care, but I do. Hope he keeps writing books. He's a young guy, so he should be... I think he's like 40, 42 or something like that. So he should have lots of book writing left in him. Something like that. 42, maybe he's 45. I don't think he's older than 45. He's a young guy. See, that Cold Wars has been canceled. From reading between the lines, seems that the venue is placing impossible demands on the organizers. Would have meant HMGS would have had a great loss. So that happened at Historicon before it ever went to Fredericksburg. So when it was at the Shithole, also known as the Host, last time it was there was in 2009, the year you were there, with Phil Barker. And in 2010, it moved to Valley Forge because the Host wasn't available or something like that. I don't remember the reason. It moved to Valley Forge, and that location was okay too. It was at Valley Forge in 2010 and 11, and in 2012, they were going to go to Baltimore. And the problem with Baltimore was that it was great for those of us who were going to fly in, because we could fly in a BWI, and there was a train that runs into the Baltimore airport, and you could take it, and it would take you literally right to the convention center. So we wouldn't have to travel and then rent a car, because at that point, Uber wasn't a thing. I mean, I don't know how long Uber's been around, but you didn't Uber anywhere. So we wouldn't have to rent a vehicle. So it was ideal for those of us traveling out of town. However, the venue was a union venue only. So if you are a vendor and you're a mom and pop vendor, which most vendors really are. I mean, if you know anything about the hobby industry, these people do it because they have the love of a hobby, not that they're making a killing on it, okay? They had to specifically hire to unload anything from their vehicle, as I understand it, the way it was presented, to do any unloading of their materials that they were going to sell. They had to go through a union representative, and they wanted like some absurd amount of money, like $30 an hour or whatever, to do it, and maybe it was even worse than that. So basically, you couldn't unload your own stuff from your own car to put in your area that you were going to sell, because you had to go through all these other people. So it was just all kinds of issues, and it just kind of fell apart. And I think that was supposed to be in 2012, and ended up going to Fredericksburg for, 5-6 years, which I was perfectly happy with Fredericksburg. I think it was a great location. I think there was a bit of an echo there But other than that, I thought that was a excellent. I thought that was an excellent venue. I've liked all the venues except the Rat Hole, especially the last time was the Rat Hole. I'm sorry. I work too hard to have to play in that kind of a. I'm not even gonna call it third world. It was fourth world environment. It was like Stalingrad. It was under construction. It was like holes everywhere and demoed everything. I walked up to Mitch. I'm like, this is like freaking Stalingrad, except there's no Nazis and communists running around. It's just embarrassing. I only have a limited amount of vacation time each year. I don't want to go to some cesspool rat hole like that. So I hope it never goes back to the host. The location in downtown Lancaster is absolutely gorgeous. It is a place that you would not be embarrassed bringing your family to join you. Not that I want my family to go with me because that's, I'm doing I don't want to spend time with my family because I'm going to Historicon. But it's a place where they could safely stay and they wouldn't be carried away by roaches, But we'll see. Yeah, I think it was one of those situations kind of like the Baltimore thing where the venue was, they didn't look at all the pieces, and I think it was where, New Jersey or something like that, and that's one of those high union, states, and you can't expect people that have a hobby business that they may not even have any employees that aren't family to go and have to have that kind of expense just to unload your stuff. It's not like you're unloading an entire warehouse into this little area. You're unloading, stuff that would fit like in a van or a panel van or something like that. They don't have the kind of expense to do that kind of thing. So, yeah, now it's got moved to a different location. Who knows? I mean, who knows? So, anyhow, I'm just glad I'm not involved in all that politics and all that crap. So, I saw a mug the other day that was being sold that I thought was hilarious and really appropriate. And it said something with just a white mug, and on it just had a saying on it. It said, "I survived another meeting that should have been an email." It's I would not be good at one of those HMGS type governmental positions that I don't want to do that kind of stuff even if I'm being paid, much less volunteer to do it. Have meetings and nothing gets resolved. And it's not that I have a personality where it's like my way or the highway, but it's like, if you're going to take time to do something, I want to have results, not, run around spinning your wheels. I don't really have the patience or personality really for that to be my sort of thing. And that's, well, I'm just glad there's other people that are willing to do that, because if you had to count on me organizing conventions, we wouldn't have any. Be like, we just have big get-togethers. But I think that's what happened with the from what I'd read with the New Jersey location was similar to what the Baltimore was. So. I know they're trying to keep it up north there because the people up there in the north, they bitch about, I can't drive 4 hours to it. It's too far to drive 4 hours. Meanwhile, we're driving 14 and a half hours, We don't mind the drive because it's for 5 days, So if you figure out how much you're really driving per day, it's not that big of a deal. I know that when they moved Historicon to November, that was a deal breaker. I mean, you could see how much I paid it in November and gamed in November. November is not a good month for me. I wouldn't even make it, regardless of the mandates that they imposed on there. That I just wasn't going to go for that, But we'll see. We'll see. But the location in downtown Lancaster is beautiful. It's an excellent location. Probably about the only complaint I have for it is it's a problem for parking. So if you don't get there, if you don't stay there or get there bright and early like we do, you're going to have trouble finding parking. And then you got to pay for parking, and paying for parking is un-American as far as I'm concerned. You know, if you have a venue, like if you have a restaurant, right? If you have a restaurant and you don't have a place to park, and you don't provide people for a place to park, then, you know, how are you going to get people's business? I don't know. Maybe it's just my suburban mentality, but I don't like to pay for parking. It's like paying for water. And there's lots of places in this country where you have to pay for parking. But I don't live in one of those places. I don't live in a metropolitan area. So we'll see what 2022 brings. I suspect it'll be more of the same. I hate to be a negative Nancy on it, but I don't think anything's going to change a lot anytime soon. I don't see the card chip situation changing anytime soon. I don't see, the shutdown, this, open that up, go in here, shut down for 3 weeks. I don't see any of that changing anytime soon. I'm just glad I'm not in an area where that really disrupts my lifestyle very much. Yeah, my crazy lifestyle, right? Luckily, I don't have a crazy lifestyle. It doesn't get disrupted by that. Did I see Mark's Mountain Indian Camp? I did not. I did not. Have to check it out. I had a pretty busy day at work, so I wasn't able to escape into. I assume it was on Facebook. I wasn't able to escape into the realms of Facebook. He doesn't post very often, so I'll have to check that out. Mountain Indians, huh? We had some interesting games with Mitch's Mountain Indians for sure. They're a hoot. They're an irregular army, unusual. Heavy on the terrain. Heavy terrain always makes interesting games. Doesn't make quick games, but it makes interesting games. But we'll see. I'll try not to get too excited about anything because getting tired of the rug getting pulled down from under me. I'd rather not do something than be surprised and not be able to do something I thought I was going to do. Have really low expectations. So. Luckily, we're not starved for playing. At least I don't feel like I'm starved for playing. I mean, I haven't put out a video in a few months, but I'm not dying to play, I remember when I first started playing DBA, I only got a chance to play a couple times a year. So yeah, to miss a convention in those times. I mean, not that I missed any, but that would have been bad. But now it's whatever. I'm not worried about it. It's not like I've got 4 or 5 armies that I have painted and I've never played with, I take long enough to paint them that... I'll still be working on them by the time the next convention shows up. Even though I've been painting faster ever since the pandemic than before. Not that that's saying a whole lot, but still. I mean, how long have I been on here? An hour and a half, and it's only 8:15. I started early. Got off of work early today. Happens once a year. And then, of course, nobody available to play. No big deal. I need to paint anyways. Got lots of stuff to paint. We might do something different tomorrow morning. It'll still be Wallachians, but we might just do something else. It might just be take a break from this light horse and do something a little different. It's still got to be painted either way, so. But we still should have painting tomorrow morning. I don't know if we'll run really late, but at least for a couple hours, I would imagine. Well, the coffee certainly helped. It's probably the first coffee I've had in a couple months. It's just gotten to the point where I just don't like the taste of it anymore. I'd rather drink tea. Okay, and there's another blanket underneath there. We're going to make that one red too, but we're going to lighten that up with yellow. And that way it'll be this, even though we use the same core color red, it's going to look a little different. Let's get some yellow out here. But I'm not getting hung up. I'm not getting hung up. I'm not getting hung up on the shield color. You know, I'll just move on. I don't really feel like making that decision right now, so I just keep painting. That's one thing I've picked up after the years that works for me. Is just keep going. Don't let that momentum stop. You start cogitating too much about something, and you get nothing done. Analysis paralysis. Heard that one time at a game group that I used to be a part of. Analysis paralysis. That's a very accurate way to describe that. Afraid to make a decision. Okay, we have a bow case and a bow. All right. I think this should be a yellowish type. It's going to be too close to the bow color. See, the horse is brown, so we need to avoid a very brown bow case. Could do another reddish one. Let's do that. Could probably just use that red leather that we have right there and tinker with that some. We're almost done with this coffee. I'm going to go ahead and get a refill of some tea. I'll be right back. I don't even have myself shut in this room yet because everybody's awake. I can be as loud as I want and not have to disrupt anybody. Okay, be right back, folks. Time about this time of year is it's not necessarily cold here by any stretch of the imagination. It's not cold, yet we have cold type weather from the standpoint of cold type weather. No, cold time date. So like at like 5:30 at night, 5:30 p.m. It's totally dark here, and it's like okay, that's cool if it was like 30 or 40 degrees, but nah, it's freaking hot still. So hopefully that'll change a little bit because, man, I just get... That's why I've been going to sleep so freaking early. You get around and it's 7 o'clock at night and you feel like it's midnight, you know? Painting all of the openings with a very dark gray, taking forever. The openings on what? Oh, a castle. Oh, cool. I'll look forward to seeing that. Yeah, it takes forever. It takes for freaking ever. Speaking of castle, we got to get on this soon. I may do that tomorrow morning. But I have a feeling this little booger is going to take 4 to 5 hours to paint. And we're going to put it on a little base. So maybe I shouldn't do that in the morning. I need to, because I won't be able to finish it. I think I need to do something a little bit smaller scale that I can complete. You know. I got to earn building that thing by doing the rest of it. But that's actually something I can use as a camp that'll actually work for my Hungarians, because I was mistaken and I thought the Hungarians, maybe it was from 2.0, that if you had at least 2 war wagons, you didn't need a camp. But it's actually, if you have more than 2, you don't need a camp. So my Hungarians can't have 3. So they're going to, well, without an ally, they can't. And they're going to always need a camp. And I don't have one for them. So, you know. Oops. Let's get rid of this. Some little furry bit there on them. Okay, bow case. Right. We're going to use this. Yeah, I sometimes think it's a disservice to have played an earlier version of the game. Because, you know, my assumption is that nothing changed. Something that I've always played a certain way, I don't assume that it changed. So, you know, that's gotten us into trouble in the past, but... Yeah, like it seems a lot later than... It's not even 8:30. It seems a hell of a lot later than that. Yeah, white dries out so fast. Let's see. Yeah, the fan doesn't help, but... I don't paint without a fan. I don't know if I ever painted without a fan on. I just need air circulation. Just paint some kind of simple design on there. See if we can get this to focus. And let's add a little bit more white on there and bring those details to the forefront a little bit. There we go. Hard when this is mirrored. So you turn it one way and you actually need to turn it the other way. Just some details on there to make it pop. That's the problem with the Essex figures. The Essex figures just don't have a lot of built-in detail. There's space for you to create it, but there's not any like built-in like patterns and stuff. So, it's kind of a blank canvas, which, you could use to your advantage and make it look really interesting, or forget about it and they look kind of bland. So, bow cases tended to be pretty ornate. It was a way to express some individuality, artistic. So I don't know what's in store for me this weekend, but I know that the mornings I should have at least a couple hours to paint. So 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely should be able to get that in there. Work that into the schedule. We're not going out of town this weekend. So what is this notification down there? What's that say? Your device needs to restart to install updates. Well, why didn't you just do it when I loaded the thing up this morning? Not this morning, this afternoon, this evening. Yeah, we're not gonna install them right now. Sorry. Haven't done a Q&A in a long time. Haven't been really any new questions, so that's okay. That was fun to do. But everybody's figured everything out already. Hey, they're not my... I actually had somebody contact me. Somebody that lived, I'd say about an hour and a half away. And they were asking me about, DBA this and the other thing. And they said they really weren't into it. They tried it and they didn't do something else. And they now play in another set of rules, and I'm like, they were apologized, and I'm like, hey, DBA is not my set of rules. You don't have to apologize for anything. If you don't enjoy playing them, you don't have to apologize. I'm not like offended. I only get bothered if you say, well, that's no good. You need to play something else. And I believe in letting people do whatever the hell they want. If you want to play another set of rules and I don't happen to like them, well, that's on you. I don't care, I try to be positive and not say, oh, well, you're an idiot if you play such and such thing, Short of coming up with your own rules, which I certainly don't have the time to do that. You're always going to find something you're not happy with. It's not as good as it could possibly be. But one of the strengths of these rules is you can go to convention and everybody knows how to play the game. Well, for the most part, So you don't spend, 2-3 hours explaining the damn rules to everybody. Everybody kind of knows how to play. You can start rolling dice, have fun, and have weird things happen, Have those fun situations happen. The Tetris phase, that's my favorite part of the game, when both sides mix it up and you're trying to get an advantage of overlaps and stuff like that with the other guy. That's where the meat and potatoes of the game really I enjoy. You don't play DBA, you don't have to apologize to me. Play whatever you want, I got reasons why I play what I play, and you may not agree with me, and that's fine. You got to play what the people in the area want to play. If everybody wants to play a certain game, and you're like, no, I want to play DBA, and nobody around there plays DBA, you're kind of not going to get a game in. You got to have some compromise. So, You don't have to apologize to me. I'm not the author. You shouldn't have to apologize to the author either, Just play whatever you want, man. Play wherever you want. It's a free country. It used to be anyways. I still think it is. Play what you enjoy. Lots of people like Flames of War. It's not my thing. I don't play it. Lots of people don't like these small scale games like DBA, and there's other games that are like that. I don't want to paint 1,000,000 figures and spend 4 hours setting up the battle just to have an unfinished battle. Well, I've done that before. That's not what I want to do. And if you enjoy that, well, more power to you. Enjoy it. There's people that like that, If you're gonna make me paint a whole lot of figures, the game better have a lot of detail for me to enjoy. If it's just more figures to move around, then what am I really getting out of all this? Some people like the diorama effect. Go build a diorama. Probably stay on here till the girls get in. Have too many distractions otherwise. When that is, I don't know. I guess technically it could happen at any moment. These guys are well armed. They have a sidearm like a sword, a bow with arrows, a shield, and a javelin. Supposedly they're light horse superior, according to the Book of Barker, Volume 4, Chapter 65. The Book of Barker. So saith. I've never heard of these guys being badasses or anything, but light horse superior it is. Certainly I have no more silver out here, or metallic color. Three folks hanging on for dear life. I'm glad I'm entertaining you. Thanks for coming by here. Almost been on here 2 hours. That's a minor miracle, honestly. I didn't think I was going to make it very far, but enough of you people interacted with me that I stayed awake. some strappings for this horse. Whew. Light tan should probably work just fine. Something like that. Like the buff. The Iraqi sand. Yeah, buff it is. Here it is, right here. Buff it out. So these guys are technically peasant-like in what they're wearing, but they're minor nobility, so they could potentially have an article of clothing or two that could be kind of bright colored, you know, because things that are bright cost money, you know. It takes only available in stores. So I've tried doing like a reddish and a bluish thing, you know. I don't want to make them all look like, you know, peasant. They don't have anything bright on them or anything, but that's at least the theme I've tried to kind of stick with for these guys. Nothing too loud, but also not too subtle either. Somewhere in the middle. And then pretty soon, this guy's going to be the same stage that all these other horses are on. Which is, we don't know what to put on his shield. This guy's going to have some kind of heraldry on there. And I'd rather not pull it out of my other regions. I'd like to use one that's, you know, based in some kind of realism of some kind. Based on some kind of estimated, some kind of a guesstimation, what they possibly might look like. Let me check on one thing. What's it been, a couple hours? 1:51. Uh-huh. Okay. 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 Anything else? Nope, that's it. Oh, why is this not charging? Oh, great. Oh, I was down to 36% because this wasn't plugged all the way in. Good thing I almost have my battery, my phone almost at full charge all the time. All right, well, I'm going to give my back a little bit of a break because that's usually that or my hindquarters are usually what gives out. But we'll go ahead and give ourselves a little break until tomorrow morning. We'll be back on pick up where we left off. Maybe I'll get a chance to take a look at some shields and paint some shields along with these guys and finish these guys up. I'm not going to decide who's on what stand until they're all complete. That actually makes it a lot easier. You don't have to pre-plan as much. You just do all the guys, make them look different, and then just kind of see who looks better on whose stand. But to be continued in the morning. Happy Friday night to you. TGIF. And see you guys soon. Have a good night, folks. Bye-bye.